And then additionally, with that replication, clearly defining your job descriptions. So like having, what does admin actually do? What are their roles and responsibilities? What are their KPIs and metrics? What are they for the TC? What are they for operations? And even though those first two people you bring on may be wearing like 2 or 3 of those hats, they do understand as we grow, it's like, okay, now that you've gotten to this position and we're at our 250 per person water line, we're going to look to hire the next person. So now we're clearly looking for just an administrator that can do just these things. And you have 2 people that know how to do it so they can help and guide. And then I'm just oversight for that group. And that's how you keep building out as you expand. That was cool to see as an entrepreneur when you scrape and you don't sleep and you're doing all of the things to align yourself with a group of people that can show you like, here's how you can build a business. Yeah. And oh, wow, this is real. Like we can do this.
So think big. When you have your vision, you got to think really big. That's what I didn't get. I always thought, if we could get 10 agents, we're good. Right. Yeah. But now my vision's 5,000 agents. My vision, like Megan's, it's huge. So when we talk to people, we're talking about the next level of production. And, our I'll let you say our mission, our vision.
So for us, the Simple Life's mission is to help you, which is anybody. It's our clients, it's our friends, family, it's the agents that we partner with. It's to help you achieve financial freedom through real estate, right? Because that's realistically what a lot of entrepreneurial people, when they get into real estate, that's what they want. That's what they yearn for. And so our company is now set up to bring people into this community that we've created and really just help launch their careers. Again, we're the Simple Life. Like we want to make your success easy. And so that's what we've built out and that's what we hope to
and you project. You want to hire people based on your core values. If they don't match what you want, they're not going to work for you. It's not going to work out in the long term. You might get 2, maybe 3 years out of them, and then they're going to peace out. Yeah. Right? That's a great question, Matt, because starting off, my family is mostly Irish. So today's a good day, being March 17th.
Love it. You both have your green on. Yep.
Our family, the rule was you got pinched until you found some green to put on. You didn't just get pinched or punched once. It was, so the typical Irish dad, hardworking, loving, but very stern, heavy-handed when it came to discipline. So that's how we learned how to stay in line. But my introduction to real estate was when I was like 5 or 6 years old. Dad would have us go and get lost in neighborhoods and knock on doors, or pretend we were lost and knock on doors, and then go inside and call him to come over and meet the owners of the house so they could have a conversation.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Right? What a great plan. And so I'm a 3rd generation real estate agent. My grandpa started it. Him and my Uncle Joe worked together once he became of age. And then my dad, not wanting to work with his dad, decided to buy the RE/MAX franchises up in Winter Park, Colorado. And he did that right around 1979, 1980. And that was right before the big recession in Colorado. If those of you remember that, it was pretty dismal real estate. I think one time 2 units had sold in the whole town for a year. And Dad's one of those 2. So we as kids would do odd jobs, hanging drywall, doing dishes, cleaning hotel rooms. And then, we'd be sitting there, especially after the drywall jobs, and you got this big check of like $3,000 for a month's work or $6,000. And your dad would walk by and he'd just pick the checks out of our hands and says, "Thanks for the rent. Thanks. You're welcome for the food in the car." Take your check and cash it. Right. So you would think we would have a easier life being a 3rd generation real estate family, but it was tough. And then somewhere in 2010, 2011, he went to go sell his RE/MAX franchise and found out they were worth nothing.
Wow.
Because Dave Leninger could put a RE/MAX franchise right across the street from you. So instead of paying for our business, they could just open their own. So about that time, I went through a pretty tough time in my life. I chose to get divorced. It was my choice. And I went through bankruptcy, lost about $3.5 million of equity. woke up one day, went to the bank thinking I had the secret account, safe account, just in case things go bad. And obviously the lawyers found it. And when I got there was $10 left in the account.
Wow.
In 2011, I started over with $10, 3 kids. And I had met Megan and told her, hey, I'd love to get together with you, but I live in a hotel room and, come on over,
I love it.
out. So that's how and I'll let Megan tell the story from there.
For sure.
Yeah. So same question. What was your dinner table like growing up?
Yeah, absolutely. So mine is very different than Parnell's. I am originally from northern Minnesota. I have a big family. We grew up, everybody worked hard, and I never was exposed to real estate. So a lot of different dynamics there when I moved out to Colorado and was introduced to Parnell's family, them having generations of realtors in their background. So I learned a lot from these guys, and it was pretty amazing. But yeah, my upbringing was super mild compared to Parnell's. And we're both, oddly enough, we both have 4 siblings. So we're one of 5 kids. So that was always fun. Those were, my siblings are still to this day some of my best friends, my inspiration, for a lot of what I do. I've got 7 nephews now. So that's a lot of fun, still really close to my family. But yeah, I came from a small town. And when I moved out to Colorado, I was down in Denver for a little bit, and the mountains kept, really called to me. I was drawn there because this community where Parnell and I are, Winter Park and Fraser, Grand County is what we also call it. It was more my speed. It was the same type of population, 3,500 people. Everybody knew everybody else. It was really cool. And so since moving out here, Parnell's been here for eons. So everybody knows who he is because he's got a unique name, in addition to just being here for as long as he has. But we've watched this community grow and evolve, and we're growing and evolving with it. So it's been an exciting adventure for us.
I love it. I love it. That is really, really cool. So now, Parnell, I guess, from where you left off with your story, you're basically left with nothing. Did you ever think of, maybe I shouldn't get back into real estate again? Maybe I should try something else? Or was it always, I have to get back in,
When I went down 2008, 2009, so resort areas take a much longer time to recover.
Sure.
So when other real estate industries were already bouncing back 2011, 2012, we still weren't. So I went back to knowing what I knew, which was hard manual labor. So I went back to logging, cutting down trees.
Wow.
There's a lot of pine beetle that had killed the forest up here. So there's a lot of work. So I just went and did that. I think my lowest paying job was $10 a tree, which was a rough week. But you got through that. And then I went back to every job I could find, and I kept real estate on the back burner. So every time there was a good deal, I'd call my clients that I knew, and I'd put the deal together. And I could be out logging, I could be doing dishes, I could what were my other jobs? God, I can't remember. I had like 9 jobs at one time.
You plowed, you shoveled, you did all the things around here, anything that you could get your hands on.
Anything that paid, I would do. And somebody asked me once, what's the longest time you've ever worked? And that was 3 days in a row. So 72 hours without sleep.
Wow. And there has to have been a humbling experience, right? Because your family had always been, probably looked at by a lot of people like, wow, they're really successful. And then, and it's such a small town, everyone knows you. And now you're doing these types of jobs. Did you learn anything from that experience, personally, maybe about yourself, the way you grew up, things that influenced you early, and then, some different changes that had happened, during that time?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing I learned is I knew how to work hard, and what I needed to figure out is how to work smart, how to be a better employee, and be a better boss, be a better leader as an employee as well. And, to give you an idea of how much it stung, Megan has a friend, her name's Danny, and she heard my name one day and she goes, "You mean Parnell, who used to be a millionaire?" So that was a bit of
It was kind of the running joke, but it really was hit home.
Yeah.
Parnell is like, wow. And I will say, like, watching this as a, not being in Parnell's exact situation, but watching him, every day he had a smile on his face. He had a positive attitude. He would just go wherever he was needed. He would do whatever was needed. It was really awesome to see how resilient he is. And I could see real estate, whether it is genetic or not, like, it was in his blood, and it was something he knows how to do, and he is so good at it. Like, he couldn't probably, I don't think he could pry himself away from the industry if he wanted to, because he knows so much and he cares so much, and he just really is good at all the different facets of it. So it was cool to watch him adapt and overcome to all of these things and still maintain a positive attitude, because there were a ton of people during that time that didn't. Bad. But yeah, he stayed on top of it. And so that was really great.
One of the things that came to mind was every day you wake up, you can make more money. And if you can just remember that, every day you get up, you can make more money. And, everybody has phone reluctance. Nobody wants to make those phone calls. And every time I have phone reluctance, what I do is say, okay, my alternative is go cut down a tree.
Yeah.
Right.
Go back. Yeah.
Two options,
right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
much easier to pick up that phone.
Absolutely. And Megan, you sort of touched on this a little bit, but you were obviously in this position, with him. What was it, just the drive that, that you could sort of see that, this is just a temporary thing that, that he's going through right now? I guess, what is it? I think a lot of people probably would have run the other direction, or that's sort of the mindset that I think a lot of people adopt. And was there something, again, you touched on, his drive and how you could see real estate was just, in his blood, but was there something else that you can say, this was just different, or just felt different, or, I'm not even quite sure what I'm looking for there, but I'm just, from your perspective, and there's plenty of other people that are in his exact same position every day, and I'm trying to get to sort of what you saw that other people should be looking for, from people that might be in similar situations.
Yeah, that's a great question. Quite honestly, I never doubted him. I never doubted his abilities. I appreciated, his outlook, even in the most dire of circumstances. We would just look at each other and we would either just laugh, or it's like, okay, how can we pivot? What else can we do? How can we make it? So he's like, it's like an eternal optimism. He's also very realistic, but he's not scared of anything. He's not scared to work hard. He's not scared to keep trying. He's not scared to put himself out there. I actually, just like a week or so ago, we were coming back from the gym, and I looked over at him and I was like, I envy how you're unafraid, like how no matter what, even if he is scared, he doesn't really like show it. He'll just push forward and he'll keep going, and he'll do whatever it takes. And it's a really special characteristic that, yeah, when you see it in people, I don't know, it's this spark, it's this like glimmer of just all the goodness. Like, even on bad days, you knew you had somebody in your corner who would go to bat for you and who would fight for you. And he'll fight for himself. I mean, it's overarchingly just that, I don't know, I guess that fight in you.
Yeah,
if you're looking for it, right?
Yeah. No, I love it. Yeah, that's, like I said, there's so many times that people just, they run the other direction. But, I think that there's a lot to be said about people that can see, that spark, and can see, the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will. So, so talk a little bit about your rebirth, right? I mean, now you guys are together, you've come through this difficult time. What was it like getting back in the saddle again, and growing things and things that you decided to do differently, maybe that, you thought maybe wasn't done right the first time?
Yeah. So, I saw a lot of talent in Megan, and she's super smart. And she has a calmness to her that I don't have. I'm learning. But she has this way of talking to people. Everybody seems to love her once they get to meet her. and she's just very calm. So I hitched my wagon to her. I'd like to say it's the other way around, and so does she, but I really hitched my wagon to her. She tried to escape a few times, but this is Grand County is the Hotel California. You can leave, but you're never going to check out. So I chased around and brought her back.
Overall, though, the Rebirth through all of this, because as any entrepreneur, right, you're trying to build something, and initially it's a struggle to figure out who you are exactly and what you're trying to build, right? What you're trying to create. So Parnell and I went back and forth a lot when his family sold the Remax franchises after they had them for 30 years. 35 years. We're looking at each other and we're like, we know we can do this better. We know we have the ability, like, what do we got to change? What can we do? And we joke, but we called our company The Simple Life because that's what we kept going back and forth. What do you want? Well, what do you want? We're like, I just want a simple life. Like this doesn't have to be this complicated or hard. Like we've been through all the stuff, and so we call ourselves The Simple Life, and that's the motto. And it's really stuck with us and ran with us throughout as we've tried, to continue to build and grow our company. And we're constantly redefining. I think that's something with entrepreneurs as well. They do want you to specialize, and that can help and make things easier. But it's also like, don't beat yourself up when you have to start over or start again. Like you can pivot and you can decide, okay, I'm on this path still, but I'm jogging a little bit this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I love that.
And so we started out, we formed our own company, The Simple Life, and we had done, I don't know, probably 90,000 our first year out, total commission. That's total commission.
Yep.
So that was enough to get us almost to a new car. And then we had to borrow money from a friend of mine to buy a house. We were able to buy a house. Actually, his parents loaned us the money. And
nice being from a small town when, your best friends from high school's parents are willing to help you out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So we worked our way out of working out of our little 2-bedroom house, and we're actually able to open an office at some point. And then we started attracting agents. And the biggest thing for us is we want professional agents. There's a lot of agents out there, and they're not necessarily professionals. They don't even know the basics of the contract, but they have a good smile. They're easy to talk to, and they know how to open a front door. Mm-hmm. And we want agents that really understand the business. And so as we train people, that's how we're training them to be professional salespeople, to be professional real estate agents. And that's our biggest driver for why we hooked our wagon to EXP is we can help throughout the country and now throughout the world training agents on how to go from making $1 to running your own company.
Yeah. I love that. So you basically, you take it from a very entrepreneurial standpoint, right? That's kind of where what you're looking for, what you're, who you're trying to attract. Is that the way you did it the first time, or your family did it?
No.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. My dad had a very small mind and he's brilliant, but he's got a small mental, what do they call it? There's scarcity mentality. There we go. He had a scarcity mentality to him. And so for the longest time, he didn't hire any agents in his office because he didn't think there was enough work. Right. And so that hindered his ability. In real estate, you have to have that abundance mentality. If you don't think we can't have 100 million agents and still every 100 million agents can make money, you're going to suffer in real estate because there's so many people.
And along those lines, how do you guys know when is right to bring on another agent, right? So that's one of the questions that all entrepreneurs I think struggle with, that maybe there isn't enough cash flow coming in right now, but if we hire somebody else, then they'll be able to take more, and we'll all be able to benefit from a bigger pool, a bigger pot. So at what point after this regenesis, what point did you say, okay, it's time to hire people on? How did you identify that? And then moving forward, after you've done this a number of times, how do you know when it's time, hey, we got to bring on another person, any thoughts along those lines?
Yeah, for us, we've stumbled and made a lot of mistakes in that regard, because we did try and recruit and hire an agent first. And why we did that was because we were both so busy. We were starting to get overwhelmed. So it made sense in our mind, let's get another agent and we can just have them, help carry this load with us. But realistically, what we've now through coaches and we have awesome mentors, we try to implement as often as we can that rule of 3. And Parnell and I go back and look at how we, did the agent first thing. And we know now that our first hire should have been an admin, right? It should have been an admin and a TC to help support us. And then we could have amplified, what the two of us could have done as far as sales was concerned. But initially we thought about it backwards, and we were like, oh, somebody can help with the sales and I'll just keep taking on all the TC and administrative type stuff.
Right.
So, and now as we're growing again, we're looking at it, and it's like, as far as the rule of 3, it's like, okay, what Megan does needs to be duplicated in 2 other people. And that's, as you're growing, it's helpful, because if one person does drop off, you still have the other one who can now help train somebody new as well. But you're still, you've got that balancing act, and it's not so overwhelming for you as an individual.
Yeah.
Yes. So to help with Megan's stuff, so once you get a couple people, you get yourself and you get an admin or 2 admins, or a TC and an admin. Once you kind of get them lined up and you get a few things documented, then you can go out and get another agent, because you're going to spend half your time training that agent. So you're going to divide your income into 2. So you got to make sure that you're set up to pay your staff and be able to cut your salary in half. So the recommendation that I've heard is, once you start make total gross income, GCI, when you hit about 250,000 GCI, then you can start looking at bringing people in, bringing other agents in, and you'd have the 3 people set up around you. And then before you hire another staff, you and the agents need to make up to about 750,000. And then you can bring on the next staff person and bring on more agents. And a lot of people go out and just bring all these agents on, and then they spend all their time training, and their income goes into the toilet. And then they have to take over all the big deals and leave the agents with nothing to do.
Yeah.
And they get mad and they leave the team.
Right.
I wonder, do you think that would correlate into other businesses besides real estate? I mean, that sounds about right.
100%. Yeah. That, like, your revenue waterline per head should be at 250 or higher.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense. And so one of the things that came to mind when you were talking about, the rule of 3, Megan, when you first decided you're going to hire on another agent, so you guys went down the path of hiring an agent rather than hiring an admin. One of the mistakes that I've made over the years is that, I'm wearing all the hats, right? So that next person is going to help, take some of those hats off, and they're going to do some of the things, right?
Yep.
But what I ended up doing, and I've seen this many, many times, is that person, I'll have them doing jobs that, completely don't match. They're wearing 2 or 3 different hats. And then if they leave, now you got to replace the 2 or 3 different hats. So any thoughts on, I guess, being specific with the roles that you're distributing to people to make sure that, we are covered with this? Like you said, I guess, you're training 2 different people. So I guess maybe that's the answer right there. You're training 2 different people doing the exact same things. So maybe if you do have somebody wearing 3 hats, you have 2 people wearing 3 different hats. So,
right.
Hopefully you're covered that way.
Yeah, Matt, I did the same exact thing. And I apologized to the guy that I brought on. He's still with us now. He's amazing. But I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I just made you me.
Yeah.
And like, that was not my intention. And so now we have that other person in place. And so I'm like, you guys are both doing all these projects together with me. Like, the 3 of us are all doing these things till we figure them out, so that they can then train and expand. And you don't know what you don't know. So, my thought when I brought that admin on was, this is great. I can take all this work off me. And I taught him how to do everything.
Yeah. Right.
And now he can wear 10 hats and run around like a crazy person, but that doesn't actually help your business grow. And if he's ever out one day, then it still all falls back on me. Yeah. So that wasn't the intention. And having those additional people that, so the replication, and then additionally with that replication, clearly defining your job descriptions. So like having, what does admin actually do? What are their roles and responsibilities? What are their KPIs and metrics? What are they for the TC? What are they for operations? And even though those first two people you bring on may be wearing like 2 or 3 of those hats, they do understand as we grow, it's like, okay, now that you've gotten to this position and we're at our 250 per person water line, we're going to look to hire the next person. So now we're clearly looking for just an administrator that can do just these things. And you have 2 people that know how to do it so they can help and guide. And then I'm just oversight for that group. And that's how you keep building out as you expand.
Yeah.
Clear for your audience. Evan is our 4th or 5th hire for that position. We learned a lot by hiring people that we liked and people that we knew. And then we started hiring people based on who they are. And we use the DISC format to figure out who they are and what role they would best fit in. And it's been a trial and error on that because we're learning every day. I've been doing this since I was 5 years old. So about 50 years. And I still learn stuff every day from somebody. I was listening to some of your podcasts this week just to get an idea of how you guys do this, and I learned stuff from those podcasts. So it's
That's
all
great. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man.
Yeah, and while DISC is helpful, it is still not the be all end all. What we look for now is like we can teach the skills, right? But we want a person that's a good fit for our company that has the will to learn and come into this industry and really put everything into it. Part of what's helped us exponentially grow is clearly defining our mission, our vision, and our core values. Really, in everything that we do. So the people that we're bringing in, that we're interviewing, that, they understand this is what the simple life is about. Here's the culture, and like, this is what these guys believe in, and they walk it and talk it every day. And like, I want to be a part of that. So it's an opt-in, right? Instead of like just pure chaos, which is how we all start, I think. Is defining those expectations.
And we got very fortunate in this because we met a group, Cardone Ventures. Brandon Dawson runs Cardone Ventures. He's part of Grant Cardone's company. He's a part of that.
Business development. Yeah, they help businesses scale and grow. And so we're fortunate. They're amazing.
We went to them and had them project where our business, being in the small town where we are, where could our business go and how big could it grow? And we were thinking, oh, maybe we'd hit 5 million one day. We go down to their Miami office and they give us a book, and it's 6 to 7 inches thick. And it's laid out exactly how to go through and how to build your business. And Andava told us, he goes, look, you got to understand, we're expecting the next 10 to 15 years, your company will be producing around $75 million.
Wow.
So that was cool to see as an entrepreneur when you scrape and you don't sleep and you're doing all of the things to align yourself with a group of people that can show you like, here's how you can build a business. And, oh, wow, this is real. Like we can do this.
So think big. When you have your vision, you got to think really big. That's what I didn't get. I always thought, if we could get 10 agents, we're good. Right. But now my vision's 5,000 agents. My vision, like Megan's, it's huge. So when we talk to people, we're talking about the next level of production. And, I'll let you say our mission, not our mission statement, the simple life vision.
So for us, the Simple Life's mission is to help you, which is anybody. It's our clients, it's our friends, family, it's the agents that we partner with. It's to help you achieve financial freedom through real estate. Right. Because that's realistically what a lot of entrepreneurial people, when they get into real estate, that's what they want. That's what they yearn for. And so our company is now set up to bring people into this community that we've created and really just help launch their careers. Again, we're the Simple Life. Like we want to make your success easy. And so that's what we've built out, and that's what we hope to.
And you want to hire people based on your core values. If they don't match what you want, they're not going to work for you. It's not going to work out in the long term. You might get 2, maybe 3 years out of them, and then they're going to peace out. Right? Definitely have your core values down to what you believe is the most important things in your life. EXP has a bunch of core values. One of their ones that I joke about all the time is that one of their core values is keep it fun, right? And that was never my life. My life is drive hard, hit hard, go as fast as you can. So
Yeah.
Megan and especially Evan and Alona, they're trying to make me have more fun at work. And so now they say I'm passionate instead of angry about stuff.
I love it. I love it. That is great. That is great. God, there's so many different things. I'm huge on core values too. We've talked about this, with a lot of our guests and that. And I don't think we need to go into that. That's something you kind of touched on already. But would you say that when you didn't have the core values there, you didn't have, sort of those guiding lights, the beacons that everyone understood. There was, I guess, disharmony or disjointed opinions and personalities.
Overall confusion, right?
Yeah.
And a confused mind does nothing. And even us, like now that we have them, core values should be something that you can hire, fire, and reward on. Man, that just helps clarify things. Without them, we were floating, and it was like you assume people want to do things a certain way and want to be good at it and want to work hard and all the good things because that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But they need a clear path. And so that was super helpful for us to define those because then we became more clear as well. And we could articulate, hey, we're doing this because of this. Yeah. It's not just because, for some ambiguous reason.
And the nice thing is with your core values is we're able to get agents to self-select out of the company. And so it's been really good. We had a team of 12 going, and then we realized 4 or 5 of them really didn't fit our core values. And so we tried to encourage them. We did everything we could to help them understand why we wanted them to be successful and do everything they were doing. And they just didn't want to do it for themselves. So at some point, if they don't have the discipline, that's one of our core values, you have to let them go. And what was great is they let themselves go. They came in one day and said, I'm going somewhere else where I don't have to do as much.
Yeah. And then there's no hard feelings. And it's, this world is full of options. It's exponential. You just need to find your tribe, you know? You guys.
And how did you identify those people that didn't necessarily fit? Right. I mean, do you feel like they just sort of stuck out like a sore thumb, or was it?
It was very obvious. It really was. And you want to, every human is innately good, right? We want to see the good in everybody, but when you are the leader and your focus is on your vision and your mission and everything, you really do, those people stick out and you.
One of the young ladies we hired, we passed on her the first time, right? And then she was with a different real estate company, and I had met her on a showing, and I thought, she is pleasant. She does have the general. She seems to want to have that drive, that move forward. So we brought her back in and brought her in. Well, what we found out is she only had so much drive.
Oh, I see.
Right?
Yeah.
So once we started saying, hey, we want you to do a minimum of 2 deals a week or 2 deals a month, all of a sudden that was too much for her.
Yeah.
And she's a nice young lady, and I hope the best for her, but we've noticed that the people that have left our team, their production goes way down after they leave the team. And it came to see, because I know that she was in the same situation I was when I was a kid. The husband's not making enough money. She's not making enough money. They don't live in a nice house, and their kids aren't going to have the future they wanted to have. And she self-selected herself out because she didn't want to sacrifice enough to build the life she wanted.
Yeah. And it's hard to separate that emotion from business, and nor do I think you should ever completely be without it. But setting your foundational elements and then, having people fit into that mold, it does make it easier. Like, even though, like Parnell said, you feel for them, you want to help, you want to be that person in their life that supports them and believes in them and all those things, like, which you should, but it's not always going to be the right fit, and that's okay. And so when you have those foundational elements in place, it does make it easier to just amicably say, like, hey, that's okay, we don't match.
Yeah. Yep.
Do all the best, and
it's
go
that
from
old
there.
saying, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink.
Yeah. Yeah. No, makes perfect sense. I love everything that you guys are doing. I love the story. I love the background, but and we can talk about this later, but we share very similar backgrounds too, where I've lost everything and have gotten back into things. So lots of similarities. So I love your energy, love what you guys are doing. Great stuff. If people want to learn more about you guys, your simple life, what would be the best way to reach out and get in touch or learn more?
Yeah, for sure. So we're on Instagram. It's The Simple Life Colorado. So you can DM us or message, do all that stuff. We're on Facebook as well. You can always Google Parnell Quinn. He's one of the only ones.
Yeah, it is pretty. It is. It's a great name to have unless you do something really bad.
Yeah, right.
Everybody knows, right?
Yeah.
But it's helped me keep my nose clean, so to speak. And I'm very cautious about that. But yeah, the best way to get a hold of us is Instagram or go onto Facebook.
And we're open books. So anybody, if you have questions, additional questions or anything, reach out. We're happy to help. Parnell's been in this industry for decades. I'm just shy of 2 decades at this point, but we've learned a lot. We've done a lot of great things. We've done a lot of learning.
Mm-hmm.
So we're happy to share.
And we're very transparent. And that's one of our other core values, is to let people know exactly what we went through and how we are. So.
Yeah. I love it. Guys, thank you so much for the time. And we'll have to keep in touch, because there's a lot to your story. So I love it. Thank you
for having us on.
Yes,
I really liked your show. So this is great.
Well, thank you.